Good morning. I'm joined today by the council president, Mike Spano, the majority leader of the city council. It's this whole team of Mike here. Mike Sabatino, the minority leader, Mike Green. Of course, we have our councilman from the first district, Shanae Williams, and the superintendent of schools, Dr. Casado. So this is a good morning and welcome to everyone. So today I'm joined today by my colleagues in government to discuss an emerging epidemic that is affecting our youth, not just here in Yonkers, but across the country, and that is the use of e-cigarettes, or commonly referred to as vaping. According to the National Youth Tobacco Survey, there was a 78% increase in e-cigarette use among high school students and a near 50% increase among middle school students from 2017 to 2018. That is just 1 year. And more than 2/3 of the students who take up vaping are using flavored e-cigarettes. We are seeing numerous news reports and news accounts of teens who've been hospitalized due to vaping, and because the vaping is causing some type of lung damage. And we don't even know the long-term effects. I don't think anybody really knows the long-term effects of vaping, especially on young people. Studies have also showing us that the availability of flavors is among the most prominent reason that young people will use vaping. So Council President Cater and I and members of the City Council, and we're also joined here, like I said, with the Superintendent of Schools, we're going to be proposing legislation to the City Council that will ban the sale of flavored e-cigarettes here in the city of Yonkers. We'd be the first big city, we'd be the first city actually in New York State to put in place such a measure. Because, let's be honest, flavored e-cigarettes really aren't about helping adults quit smoking. What it is, and what we're trying to do here, is about stopping children from starting. Yonkers needs to say no to creating a new generation of nicotine addicts. And I believe we've been successful in preventing tobacco companies from marketing to the youth in the past. So now let's do our part in preventing another generation from developing another addiction. As elected officials, I think we can all agree that we have a responsibility in protecting our youth and protecting the people in our community. And I believe that this is a very strong message and a measure that we hope will catch fire, that we'll see other communities doing this. I know many communities are talking about it, some communities are proposing this, but we're hopeful that many people will take our lead. With that, I'd like to ask our council president, Mike Cater, to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Spano. Thank you for my colleagues on the council. Thank you to Dr. Casado for joining us. I want to start off by thanking Mayor Spano for bringing this attention to me, and I asked him, Mayor, I want to be a part of this. This is an important, very important issue. I remember growing up when I was in junior high school, and there was a lot of controversy concerning normal, traditional cigarettes. It was the Marlboro Man and Joe Camel. That's been regulated, and these e-cigarettes, I feel, present a clear and present danger to our youth. We must put people before profit. It's important to know, and I've spoken to some people, that we're not banning tobacco, we're not banning the vape products. We want to protect our children. And some of these flavors, as the mayor just said, some of these flavors, it is my belief, clearly target our youth. And once addicted, the consequences of addiction cannot be quantified. We already had a few deaths nationwide that are directly related to vapes. We've had over 30 injuries and illnesses that they're not sure what caused it or are linked to vapes. There has been no formal, impartial study about the benefits of vaping. And as public servants, the council, superintendent, and of course, the mayor of the city, we must be proactive in defending and protecting our youth. We cannot be bystanders while there's a clear danger for our youth. I'll be asking my colleagues on the council, the leadership, Majority Leader Michael Sabatino, Minority Leader Bree, and of course, Councilwoman Shanae Williams, who chairs the legislation and code meetings. Let's act swiftly, let's act in a bipartisan manner, and let's quickly vote on this issue and have this legislation passed. That way we can move forward. I thank the mayor, and I thank everyone for coming in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Council President. We have the Majority Leader of the City Council, Mike Spano.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to echo the sentiments of the Council President. I grew up when regular cigarettes were very popular. Fortunately for me, I had a father who smoked 2 packs of Camels a day, and I couldn't stand the smell of smoke. So my major concern, having a medical background, is this recent incidences of people coming down with some kind of lung disease from vaping. This should be the most important thing that we're looking at. Look how long it took to find out the effects of tobacco. Here we are, vaping is relatively new, and now we have people coming down with some kind of a lung disease. That should be the main focus. And why would we want to not discourage our young people from doing these flavored e-cigarettes? I'm totally opposed to these flavors, and I think that we have to act swiftly, and I'm certain that we will. Thank you.
Thank you, Majority Leader. The Minority Leader of the City Council, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Majority Leader and I come from the same era. I lost my mother at a relatively young age, and she did 4 packs a day. So I have a thing about tobacco and nicotine. I recollect going by a local high school a few years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, and the kids out smoking on the fence. I'm like, why are they doing it? And I think we've weaned children off it, but they come back with products to get them back on it. So anything that we can do to encourage our young people from not getting into the ills of nicotine and tobacco, I'm supportive. Thank you.
Councilwoman and also the chair of the legislation committee, so this will actually be going through her committee, and it will be part of the study that they will take place, hopefully very quickly, but our Councilwoman, Shanae Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. So I don't want to be redundant in repeating everything that's already been said, but I would just like to stress that we already have this legislation written. We'll be having a legislation and codes committee this Tuesday, the 10th at 5 o'clock here at City Hall on the 4th floor. And I encourage folks to come out and speak and let your voices be heard, because this is an important issue, and we want to make sure that we do everything we can as legislators to make sure that we protect our children, protect the future of the city and this nation. So I encourage you to come out and speak about it. And I want to say thank you to the mayor and my colleagues on the council, and certainly to the superintendent for, taking this initiative and moving forward, because it is important and we have to start now.
Thank you, Councilwoman Williams. And the next person will come up here, obviously, is our superintendent of schools. Reminding all of you that today is the first day of school. And so the superintendent has been running around. I've seen him on a bus this morning at 7:30. He's full of energy today, by the way. Just gotta warn you. But he's took time out of his busy schedule because he thought this was so important. So, Dr. Casale.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and absolutely full of energy it is. I mean, we have 27,000 children in our schools, and I have not gotten any emergency calls, so that's phenomenal, let me tell you. But allow me to say thank you to Mayor Spano, the council president, and the members of the council for being powerful in their conviction and indicating to each and every one of us how important it is to protect our next generation. Any marketing firm that is targeting young people to introduce into their lives harmful product, we should say no to them. And that's exactly what this legislation will do. We in the public schools, we are embracing a campaign that will say no to vaping. This particular poster here, which we started a competition last year, and it was a PSA created by Isabel Cardoso out of Saunders Trace and Technical High School, and she won a national competition with this particular poster. So our young people, they want to be popular, and then some of them believe that vaping is popular. But let me tell you one thing, the majority of them are saying no to vaping, particularly those flavored e-cigarettes. The Board of Education already introduced a policy that says that e-cigarettes are not allowed in our schools. So if they are not allowed in our school, then let's not sell them to our young people. Our young people need to be protected, and I just want to congratulate this group of elected officials for understanding the importance of protecting our young people and all of our children. It's so important that we realize that we are doing to them today will have repercussions for years to come. Let's fight against all of those things that they will have to deal with once they become adults like us. Let us protect our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Catata. Any questions?
What do you have to say to business owners in Yonkers who have vape shops that say if this passes, they'll lose their livelihood, they'll lose their business?
I don't believe that anyone, in my opinion, that is surviving solely on this, but I will tell you, right now, my sole concern are the tens of thousands of children who live in the city of Yonkers. And in my opinion, if you should not be selling a product that actually is almost by its very nature targeting kids. And so that is just morally wrong and something that shouldn't be doing. So we're not going to be supportive of it. Yes.
So it's proven that banning the sale of things isn't really going to stop the usage. So why not do something like force the companies around here to change the packaging? If you're concerned about the flavors targeting children, why don't you have different packaging that doesn't have bright watermelon colors on it and so on and so forth? And why e-cigarettes? Because they're new and different. I mean, I've read all sorts of things saying it's actually safer than a real cigarette. So they're going to revert back to like old cigarettes. I'm not a proponent of smoking, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't agree with that assessment. I think that there was a time in America when cigarettes were flavored, and the government took action on that because, like I said before, it was by its nature targeting children. So I think this is the best and proper way for us to go. Yes.
How do you feel that banning the flavor of e-cigarettes is going to prevent children from it? What if an adult wants to smoke a watermelon flavored vape?
You can smoke it, just won't be able to buy it in Yonkers.
So if I can ask you about that, if you ban it in Yonkers and every other town sells it, do you not get the benefits you need while also hurting businesses?
Our hope is that we are a leader, and that we'll be a leader in this effort. As you remember, when banning cell phone use, right, was like the big thing. It came about quickly, but it actually started with Lou Masiello, who was a county legislator from Yonkers, and it started, the banning of cell phone use started right in Westchester County and became a national trend. And so I believe that this will become a national trend as
Is
well.
it better to try to get the state or the county or some larger government entity to do it?
I think that they will, more than likely, as done in other areas. We've done this before, where, like I said, the cell phone ban, that the state will eventually pick it up. So I think that they'll pick it up. That's
What do
my
you have to
opinion.
say for the adults that actually are going back to
that's the
smoking?
thing. What's that?
What do you have to say for all the adults that are vaping and have to go back to smoking after you pass this legislation?
My hope, and I think I'll say this to anybody who vapes, is to stop young people from starting.
So why not just...
Other municipalities have done this across the United States, and has that helped in any way?
Brand new. In Tucson, Town, Michigan, but they just announced it today.
No, this is here.
Hempstead is going to do it on the 24th. There's a movement in the City Council in New York City to do it. There's a council member that came out with this. And so it's still new. And
Also across the schools, I have a question for the superintendent. There was vape detection installments in certain schools to detect vaping. Do you think that in Yonkers there'll ever be any anti-vaping mechanism put in place other than just banning, say, vapes being grown in schools?
I do not believe that that's something that we need to do. This is about educating our young people. Our young people now, they are extremely smart. They understand the effects that this will have in their lives. I think it's our responsibility as adults to educate them, but it's also the responsibility of the city to limit access. And if we limit access and we educate, then we will be successful. And we will not need any mechanism to try to look for the vaping devices and take them away from our children.
Do you think there's a lot of vaping at the schools in Yonkers? Is it a small percentage, a large percentage? What is
I
the
would
percentage?
say significant enough, and I am extremely excited that this legislature is going to help my campaign in my school to completely eradicate vaping in all of our schools from our young people.
Are you aware that the pulmonary illnesses are not caused by flavored e-cigarette products, but by illicit street drugs?
No, I'm not aware of that. I will tell you this. You know, I have 3 children, 16, 18, 20. And, you know, they were brought up in the generation of smoking is bad. They saw all the horrible commercials that were put in place, right? And my kids were very clear that smoking was not something they would do. As a matter of fact, they would be horrified if they saw one of their uncles or somebody smoking, because he would say, God, did you see that guy on TV? Did you just see the lung that they just showed? Now, I was surprised when I picked up my son's shorts and found a vape in his shorts. So here is a kid who completely thought that smoking was wrong in terms of unhealthy. And yet he thought someone told him vaping was okay. It was better than cigarettes. And so now he's vaping, right? And so and that's the type of thing that I think we're all trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid this next generation of kids who know that smoking is bad, but somehow are being told that vaping is good from getting addicted to nicotine. So that's what our goal is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.